Gaban has dropped some massive bombshells on Emu in the past couple chapters, and this is piggybacking off of one of my more recent videos where I talked about Emu possibly being good and Luffy bringing Emu to the good side again. So I think that this is a really banger theory, so hopefully you guys stick around for the video. But I'm going to be talking about today why I think Emu was a good person and can possibly turn back into a good person. Because in chapter 1191, Gaban gives more evidence to support the idea that Emu was a good person in the past or has a good side to them. And I've been thinking about this some more, and I don't know why I didn't think of it at first, but I think Emu was corrupted by their devil fruit, or whatever the fuck power Emu has. So what did Gaban confirm in chapter 1190 and 1191? Well, in 1190, I think he basically confirmed that Emu was on Joyboy's crew at one point. Emu was fighting alongside Joyboy at one point, fighting for freedom, and I don't think that Joyboy, like Luffy, would have someone who's a bad person on his crew. So this led me to believe that, okay, Emu was a good person at one point, maybe Emu can flip to the good side. And Gaban supports this again in chapter 1191. He says that Emu has a true nature, which seems to be a big secret. So Emu has this hidden side to themselves that we haven't really seen yet. And it's even more secretive when you think about the fact that Gaban was on Laugh-Tale and he learned the full history, but he doesn't know this side of Emu. So this got me thinking some more. Is he talking about Emu's good side? Is he talking about this hidden good side to Emu? And have we already seen this side of Emu? And it's when Emu finally comes to Elbaf, Emu treats the God Knights like they are Emu's crewmates or like his comrades, his friends. I think that Oda meant for this moment to really show the readers that Emu does have this different side to them, but a lot of people really didn't get it. It went under the radar. The first thing that Emu does when Emu touches down is he asks for the king. He asks for the king because he wants to know who hurt his friends. He asks for the king and then he attacks everyone around Summers and he frees Summers and heals him up. He also boosts him, and then Emu goes directly for Gunko. Emu tries to free Gunko from Ragnar's ice, goes directly to killing him, frees killing him, powers him up. That was the first thing that Emu did. Emu didn't treat them like they were worthless, didn't treat them like trash, like they were dispensable. The first thing Emu does is tries to help them. So I just think that Emu has this good side to them. And I think it really means something that the first moment we see this good side to Emu or this different side to Emu, this characterization, is when Emu fully gets a reveal. It's like Oda finally showing us Emu's true side or this hidden side to Emu because Emu has finally revealed himself. When Emu was in this black blob form, it was just easy to make Emu evil. And it's possible that maybe this blob form is actually making Emu like truly evil because Emu's not in their full form. Considering what Emu did to Saturn, I mean, Emu absolutely cooked Saturn. I don't know if Saturn is a different story to Emu, considering how Emu treats the God Knights here. Emu doesn't just fry them all. So what does this Void Century conflict tell us about how Emu was a good person turned bad, and what is the outcome of the Void Century? So Emu started out on Joyboy's crew as a good person, and we know that Emu eventually leaves the crew and then goes and starts the Void Century conflict. So something had to change in Emu when Emu was on the crew, or maybe Emu left the crew and then immediately started the Void Century conflict. It's not really clear at this point, but eventually something changed in Emu. And this led to the betrayal of Joyboy and the entire world war of the One Piece world. So it had to be something drastic. It had to be something like a full tone shift for Emu. Because I just cannot see a Straw Hat type of person becoming Emu. Like, how would you take a Straw Hat and turn them into Emu? You would have to fully demonize them. You would have to fully shift their mind. So this got me thinking a lot more about Emu's power, and I think that Emu's power is the reason that Emu turned bad. I mean, it's just obvious to me. The first thing I want to talk about with Emu's power is the idea of Zoan fruits in general having a will of their own and affecting the user. We saw in Impel Down how a Zoan can take over the mind of the user and completely change them into the will of that thing. So if Emu's will was not strong enough, Emu would become the devil because of the devil's fruit. Now I have an idea that Emu's power isn't even a devil fruit. I think it transcends devil fruit. I think Emu's power might be the original devil fruit, but the same thing could kind of apply. I think that Emu's devil fruit has been manipulating Emu behind the scenes this whole time. And another piece of evidence for this is the fact that Emu's packs also affect the user. Like for example with Harold, his entire mind was changing. He was turning into an evil person, cutting down his comrades. That is not the Harold that we know, so the fruit Emu's power was changing Harold's mind, so why can't Emu's power also change Emu? Because originally I thought these bad thoughts were coming from Emu, like Emu's evilness was feeding into Harold, but really it could be the power. So what if just over time Emu gets the devil's fruit on Joyboy's crew, and then over time gradually it starts to turn Emu evil? And this leads to a full shift where Emu betrays Joyboy and then starts the Void Century conflict and to overrun the world. And it's possible that Joyboy realized this at some point, considering how Joyboy lost the war. When we look at the details of the Void Century conflict and we look at Emu's power level and Joyboy's power level, I think it's clear that Joyboy was stronger than Emu, considering how Emu reacted to Joyboy's haki on Egghead and the way that Emu talks about Joyboy in Elbaf. So Joyboy should have been able to beat Emu in the Void Century conflict. And when we look at the fact that Joyboy had this grander master plan with all of the poneglyphs, all of the apologies that he wrote to these different races, it really seems like Joyboy planned his defeat more than Joyboy lost because he was weaker than Emu. So what I actually think happened is Emu got corrupted on Joyboy's crew at some point by this devil's fruit. Emu leaves the crew and goes and starts the Void Century conflict. Joyboy joins his forces and they go to fight Emu because Joyboy actually believes that Emu is now evil. That's what we see in the mural, but maybe Joyboy at some point realizes that Emu is being controlled and that Emu still has this good side to Emu, it's just buried away. So what does Joyboy do? Maybe he accepts defeat, he retreats, he goes and starts this master plan of the poneglyphs, of spreading the word to the next generations in order to save Emu in the end. What if Joyboy spared Emu because he knew that Luffy in the future would be able to save Emu? We could even have a parallel to Roger, where Roger turns himself in order for his death to start the next generation. What if Joyboy retreats from this final war type situation that we see in the mural? He goes back, creates all the poneglyphs, stuff like that. He spreads them all over the world. He turns himself in to be defeated in order to set up the stage for Luffy. I think that Joyboy is missing some key characteristic that Luffy has, or some power that Luffy has, because Luffy is the one who's ultimately going to free the One Piece world. Luffy is the one that's going to bring freedom to everybody where Joyboy couldn't, so Luffy has to have something where Joyboy doesn't have. I think it's possible that it's this idea that Luffy can bring everyone together. I think it's the idea that Luffy can bring people to his side. You can think of it as a talk no jutsu type of thing. I just think that Luffy is going to be the one to free Emu if Emu does truly have this good side. If Oda plants the seeds for Emu to have a good side, Emu is going to be redeemed. And I think that if Luffy is going to be the one to do it, then that means that Joyboy had to have had a part in it. Maybe he was the one who planted the seeds with Emu. He's the one who originally had Emu in the good state, and then Emu turned bad, and now Luffy can fix Joyboy's mistake. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think about this theory down below. It's kind of a far-fetched theory at this point. We don't have a whole lot of information, but I think what Gaban gave us in the last couple chapters really does point to this type of scenario. Because when Gaban says hidden nature, I just don't know what else it would be besides some other type of personality side to Emu. And with Emu being on Joyboy's crew, I just think that Emu being a good person is the most likely option. And connecting that to the Void Century War, I think it makes a lot of things make sense. So let me know what you guys think down below. That's all I got for today's video. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed. See ya.